when you talked about the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, I think that's something which is the most very important thing which is related to the current world. Because it's a Dharma Sankata for him. Doing a war is very important for him at that point of time. But he's going to kill his own guru, Dronacharya, and his own grand Bhishma. So both of them are looking wrong and right together at the same time. I have to kill Bhishma. I have to do the war. Both of them are two Dharma Sankatas. People say, oh, Dharma Sankatas is too big to discussion. But if you look at simple conflicts of what I do, should I do my photography or should I do engineering? That's still, both of them are conflicts to me. Even if we take that big decisions, when we speak to our Yuva Bandhus in our thing, they get very small conflicts. For example, should I help my brother here, or should I just go and play my cricket too for me? Both of them look good to me. So we keep talking about these Dharma Sankatas, and obviously the best book or guide is for Mahabharata again. So any Dharma Sankata which you felt like, from current world we judge it very easily. I sit on this very great sofa and say, Arjuna is wrong, Krishna shouldn't have done this, because Krishna is like my friend, right? So I can tell all these things. So where did that Swadharma or the bigger Dharma comes in during Dharma Sankata? And what are the scenarios where they took for a bigger thing? So Deepakji, you can...
Yeah, so when we talk of Dharma Sankata, a very interesting episode is there connected to Yuyutsu. Now, Yuyutsu was also a Dhartarashtra, the son of Dhritarashtra, but Gandhari was not his mother.
Okay.
There was a maid who was his mother. And
so Dhritarashtra has 100 plus
100
1.
plus, yeah, 1 plus some more which we don't know about.
Oh, 101
So, Yuyutsu is the son of a maid. So, naturally, Duryodhana dislikes him. So, he does not keep him close to him. But since he is his father's son, he cannot throw him out also.
Okay.
So, Yuyutsu is not in the inner circle, but he is a part of their clan. And he is the one who tells the Pandavas that, look, they are going to poison Bhima. They are going to kill him.
Oh.
So, when they were kids, Bhima was very strong. So, he was very aggressive during play.
Okay.
So, they disliked him. So, what do you do when children dislike each other? They fight it out, or they go and complain to
parents,
father and mother. But what Duryodhana did, he said, I am going to kill him. I'll poison him and throw him in the river.
At that young age?
At that young age. So, that's where, the conflict originated.
Okay.
Right? So, at that time, Yuyutsu is the one who warns. There are 2 incidents, and he saves Bhima in one incident by warning him.
Okay.
Because Yuyutsu is very clear. I am on this side, but I cannot do wrong. And there is one more brother called Vikarna. Now, Vikarna is Duryodhana's own brother.
Right.
Now, there is the shameful episode of Draupadi Vastraharana. Just before that, Vikarna is the only one from the Kaurava camp who speaks out. He says, this is wrong. What you are doing is wrong. Bhishma is silent. Drona is silent. Dhritarashtra is silent. Nobody is speaking out. But Vikarna speaks out. And then, when the war starts, Yudhishthira gives an offer. Okay. He says, defection, come over. You need not go to a resort. You can straight away walk into our side.
Okay.
Yudhishthira says, I am going to cross over. So, for which, many people criticize him. He says that, they say that, look at Karna. Krishna gives him an offer. The Lord himself has given him an offer. But he rejects that offer. He says, I'll remain with my friend Duryodhana. But Yuyutsu walked over. Was he wrong?
Oh, okay.
Did he, backstab his family? But the point is, Yuyutsu chose Dharma. He did not go on the wrong side.
Right.
Now, what does Vikarna do? He sticks to the Karna model. He says, no, I'm going to be with my family.
Okay.
He dies, he's killed by Bhima. And there is a story which says that Bhima wept after the battle. Okay. He said, you are the one who stood for us, but I have to kill you. I have no option because you are in the other side. Yuyutsu not only survives the war, he becomes regent to the emperor after the war. Once the Pandavas leave for exile, Yuyutsu becomes a regent. Now, the same parallel is there in the Ramayana. Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana. Vibhishana switches side. Kumbhakarna stays there. He tries to advise Ravana, but Ravana does not listen.
No.
So, Kumbhakarna dies, Vibhishana becomes the king.
Right.
So, you need to follow
Dharma.
Right. So, when there is a Dharma Sankata, you need to look at, Swadharma. You said Swadharma. Swadharma is doing what is good for you.
Okay.
Your duty.
Right.
But there are 2 concepts here, selfish and selfless. Now, you say, I'll do what I want. I don't care what happens to others. That was Duryodhana. He did not care about others.
Right.
Whereas people like Arjuna, Yudhishthira, they were concerned about what effect my decision would have on others.
Oh.
For example, Jayadratha kidnapped Draupadi. So, Bhima obviously wanted to kill him for doing that. But Yudhishthira says no. His wife is Dushala, who is our sister. So, we love our sister.
Right.
How can I see my sister as a widow?
Oh.
So, they think on those aspects. So, Swadharma is basically you
selfish.
Try and be selfless while taking your decision.
Okay, Swadharma.
And sometimes you may have to subsume yourself to the greater good. What is good for society as a whole? So, Swadharma is, there are two concepts here, selfless and selfish. Selfish is where you think only about yourself. Recently, there was a case in Bangalore. Someone was playing music, the neighbor objected and he beat up and killed that man. So, it is like, I am going to play music, I don't care what happens to what others care. That is being selfish. Selfless is you try and think, I am taking a decision, what impact would it have on others? So, that is being selfless. So, if we look at the instances from the Mahabharata, people like Yudhishthira and Arjuna, they had concern for others too. So, when Jayadratha, the king of Sindhu, he kidnapped Draupadi. So, they of course defeated him. Bhima wanted to kill him. But Yudhishthira says, no, don't kill him. Leave him. Because his wife is Dushala, who is our sister. Actually not sister, cousin sister. But still he considers her as a sister and says, my sister will become a widow. So, I cannot allow that to happen. So, spare Jayadratha's life. Now, that turned bad because of that Abhimanyu died.
Yeah.
But still at that point of time, he could have been selfish. He could have said, my wife has been insulted, let me avenge him. He does not do that. He thinks about larger good.
Wonderful.
So, same way in Swadharma, we do our duty, but we try and think about the larger good. So, that's how a Dharma Sankata is resolved.
Beautiful. This is very, very good for that. And any Dharma Sankatas which you saw in a Mahabharata Bhartiji, which you felt, oh, now I see it is bad, but I know why, the bigger reason. And I'm sure Krishna would be there in this.
Yeah, several. The whole story is based on Dharma Sankata. When some people did not know what Dharma was, some people knew what it was and didn't know which was the right Dharma to follow.
Correct.
For again, a good example is Bhishma, like he said, at Vastraharan, he's not even mute actually. He's not mute. If he was mute also, it probably would have been slightly better. Draupadi actually directly asks him and he gives a very wishy-washy type answer, which encourages Duryodhana to go further, which encourages Karna to ask for Draupadi's stripping.
Right.
So, Bhishma being the elder there, the kingdom is actually Bhishma's.
Yeah.
Right, because he is Shantanu's eldest son.
Right.
Kingdom actually belongs to Bhishma, as Dhritarashtra points out later on to Duryodhana in one of his saner moments, that the kingdom actually belongs to Bhishma, so we don't have a right to actually decide who. That? Yeah, he says that, surprisingly. He has a sane moment sometimes. So, Bhishma being the elder, being the one with the right and the voice to actually stop that, fails.
Okay.
And he is not somebody who does not have Dharma Jnana. He does. Yudhishthira goes to him later on to understand what Raja Dharma is.
Correct.
So he is not somebody who is Ajnani. He knows very well. And yet he fails at that very crucial moment to put a stop to something that is blatantly adharma. And that inability to put a stop to it comes because he prioritizes his swadharma, his self-dharma, own dharma, over the greater dharma. So he does not see, he is committed to he is made a vow like 50 million years ago that I will always be dedicated and subservient to the throne of Hastinapur. And that thing, he's got so obsessed with that thing, he's no longer able to see that what he's doing, his action, is actually not in the best interests of the Hastinapur throne. Because if that act had been stopped there,
you wouldn't have
then maybe Kurukshetra would not have happened, or maybe it would not have happened with that kind of annihilation. Maybe he could have stopped some of it. Maybe he could have changed the course of the war so it was contained to just Pandavas and Kauravas, where Arjun thrashed the Kaurava force at Matsya.
Yeah.
So he would have single-handedly told them, you all relax at home, why everybody should go, I will go handle this and come, and Kauravas would have been subdued. At least every king in Bharatvarsha would not have been involved. There were so many generations which got destroyed. We see that in Ashwamedha. So, Bhishma focusing on Swadharma and being unable to see that Swadharma was at loggerheads with the greater Dharma.
Beautiful.
When Swadharma gets perpendicular to greater Dharma, Swadharma is no longer relevant.
Wow.
You have to shed it. It is the greater Dharma that takes priority. He could not even see that his Swadharma was at loggerheads with the greater Dharma. So he never was able to put that aside. If Bhishma had not agreed to fight on Duryodhana's side, Duryodhana might not have had the guts to go against the Pandavas or end up at Kurukshetra at all.
Yeah.
And it was the first 10 days of the war that was most devastating. After that, the minute Bhishma fell, the outcome of war was pretty much decided.
One-sided.
Yeah, because Duryodhana on day 10 changes his entire strategy. He goes to Drona and says, okay, look, now what I want you to do as commander, Drona is commander now, he tells Drona, I don't want you to kill Yudhishthira. Please kindly don't kill Yudhishthira. I want him alive only. Because if Yudhishthira dies, Bhima becomes commander. If Bhima becomes commander, he will finish us. So please kindly don't kill Yudhishthira. I want you to capture him, bring him back. I will play a dice game again, cheat him again, send him to exile again. And this will keep repeating.
Oh, wow.
So this will be a rinse-repeat cycle happening. Because with Yudhishthira, I know that he will not go against that. Bhima will say, what dice game? You come here, I will fight with you and finish you. So he does not want Yudhishthira dead because he knows that they cannot win the war on day 10. So Bhishma plays such a key role. He is in a position where he can stop it. He does not because he believes in his Swadharma. If we compare that with Krishna, Krishna vows, I will not take up arms. He breaks his vow. Why? Because he knows that this war has to end. This war has to end with the Kauravas losing. They have to be defeated. They have to be killed. Unless they wipe them, he has taken avatara for Dharma Stapana. He is going to wipe out adharmis. That is the greater Dharma.
Correct.
He knows that. My personal vow has nothing to, has no priority here. People call me names, people insult me, people call me Ranchod, I don't care about it. I will break my vow if it is needed for the greater Dharma. Beautiful. So who better to tell us the difference between Swadharma and greater Dharma, which is better than Dharma himself.
Dharma himself. Excellent. I think this gives us, like, when we are taking decisions, what comes into importance, It, like, a lot of people actually say, why did Krishna do that? He should have stuck to the word. Now, stuck to the word, we would have got a Bhishma.
Yeah, exactly.
And we would have got a Draupadi being, disrobed. But look at Krishna, as you exactly said, he has right things to do at right time. Whether you are perfectly, I really loved that part when society might call him bad. But for him, the more important is to entire the world has to grow that time. That's a beautiful
thing. The reputation is not what matters when it comes to Dharma.
Exactly. Reputation.
So, Dharma is paramount. Your reputation may get ruined. You may be called 100 things. People may not trust you. Whatever. People don't trust him. He gets cursed out of it. Krishna gets cursed. Yeah. To have his entire, and that is another example of how he follows greater Dharma. Yeah. He ensures that his own people are killed because they are not good for Dharma.
Yeah.
The Yadavas have become arrogant, abusing power. So at that point of time, it is necessary to annihilate them, and he does it. Correct. There is no Swadharma coming there. Swadharma is to protect his people.
He is not selfish.
The greater Dharma is to protect the world.
Perfect.
Dharma speaks.